Okay, so today's a big day. We are doing all of the transplanting today, and the first thing I wanted to do was install my teepees for the beans. And I do this in the lettuce bed, just because by the time the beans actually germinate and climb the teepees, the lettuce can continue to grow. They won't mind at all. And then if any, by the time the beans actually get up there and leaf out and start creating some shade, it's warm enough that the lettuce won't actually mind a little bit of shade because they are a cool season crop. So we're just going to get started. So I use these bamboo stakes. I don't know if you can see that. You can find them for like a couple of bucks at your Home Hardware or Home Depot type place. Let me just see which side I want to put them in. And I do 4 per side. And I just try to not to, disturb anything that's already growing. So I'll put 4 in, and I attach them at the top. So I'm just going to stick them in for now. I have to be careful because there's logs and stuff underneath here. Just find a good spot. Okay, there we go. That's 2. I don't want to disturb the lettuce too much. And this is not an exact science, guys, so like don't worry too much about it. And I've done this before where I set them up and I put them in to the same bed as the lettuce. Okay, that's good. Just because I don't want to pull the lettuce just yet, because it's just starting to be good. All right, next thing, the trusty tie wrap. I bought a bag of these, I don't know, 8 years ago, and I'm still working on it. I use 2 of these per year, and it's for these teepees. It's the funniest thing. All right, so you just bring these together, and then this is probably the most complicated of this whole process, is to try to get it at the right, let me see. Did I put it on the right side? Probably not. Let's see. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. All right. Let's make sure it's tight enough. I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing here. Let me lift this up real quick. But you don't want to go on anywhere. So the next thing is I start with string or twine or whatever it is that you have. And I couldn't find my twine from last year, so I'm using kitchen string. Doesn't really matter what it is, as long as the beans have something to climb up. And then I think since I'm going to start at the bottom, let me point you down again. All right. Okay. So what I do is I start down here. I tie a knot on the bottom one, just so that it doesn't go anywhere. Okay. And then I just go around. So I'll go around here, I'll loop it once, and you can adjust it and tighten it a little bit as you go. And then just go all the way around. And I don't like tie knots or anything. And it's okay. This is going to get loose over the course of the season. Really doesn't matter. So now that I've done one loop, I'll go up a diagonal at about, 8 inches or so. Again, not rocket science. Do it whatever feels right to you. It's one of those things that you feel it with your heart. Whatever feels right. And then just keep going. And then again, I went up by another. So on this side, it's a bit of a diagonal, but everywhere else is as straight as you can make it. Doesn't really matter. And this is just to help the beans grip onto something as they're climbing these things. Whoops. Oh, that's not good. All right, we'll grab that. All right. And then I just want to do one full one because then you'll see what I do at the top. Using less and less string as we to the top of these things. All right. And then once I get up to the top here, I kind of do a knot. Actually, hold on, I've probably lost you. 2 seconds, I'll tilt the camera up. You can see what I do at the top here. All right. All right. Let's keep going. Hold on, I'm getting too much slack up here. All right. So, I'm gonna keep going. Like get close enough to the top, and then we'll cut it and then tie it at the top here, up here. Getting to the point where this is becoming tough to pass through. All right, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to give myself quite a bit of slack though. Did I bring the scissors out? I think I did. Yes, I did. All right, let me see. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of a loop just along these. But like, let's be honest, between you and I, by the time that the beans come up here, they're really solid and they'll grow and they'll overshoot the teepee. Doesn't matter. Just let them grow. I cut them off. They'll just keep growing. They're vines, right? Vines want to grow. Okay. So then once I get up here, I do like a couple of loops and then I'll tie a knot, just including the twist tie. Not that these have ever fallen. Like I've been doing this for years and none of them ever get dismantled or fall or anything like that. They're pretty solid. All right. And then just tie a knot. I'll do a double knot just to make sure. And all you want is for it to stay solid. That's all you're looking for. All right. That's it. And cut off the tail. It is a beautiful day today. All right. And then I kind of just fiddle around just to make sure. I probably lost you again. Hold on. Just to make sure that it's, that it's taut everywhere. But again, like these things are going to get loose as the beans grow on them. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's just some kind of structure just so that they can climb it. And that's it. So that's one. Oh, this one's a bit, doesn't really matter really. All right. So that's one. I'm going to do the other one. And then I'm going to transplant tomatoes and herbs and all the other things. So I won't record the second one because it's the exact same process, but I'll get to that. And then I will record the transplanting the tomatoes because that's kind of cool. That's interesting. All right, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, teepees are done. Now we're going to plant our beans. So the first variety I've got are scarlet runners. It's the first time that I'm growing these. I'm super excited about it. I'm just excited to see the red flowers. And I've got some Blue Lake that I harvested off my plants from last year. So what I do for this, pop this in my pocket, is I'll plant about, God, these are huge. Look at these. They're massive. This is cool. So how many do I have here? I usually put maybe three beans per teepee pole, and then they each just climb up their pole. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put three per, and I usually just make like little holes with my finger, and then just plop them into each one, and then cover them up. And the only reason, like I just have to be a little bit careful because there's there's lettuce there. But normally, like if you were doing this in an empty bed, I would go all the way around. But because there's lettuce here that I don't want to disturb too much, I'm just going in between the lettuce. So let's just pop these in. And I push them down, just cover them with the soil around them, and then just push them down. That's a weed. Get rid of that. All right, next one. Loosening up the soil a bit. All right, we're gonna one. I'll put 4 over there just to use them all. I'm not gonna keep just one bean. All right, and then on this side, last batch. So we're gonna do actually put one on the inside. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3. Get rid of the weed, and then cover them up. I probably should have read how deep they go, but if they're like any other bean, see 3 beans in a 4-inch pot. That's sow seeds outdoors, 5 to 6 seeds. Doesn't say how deep, but I usually go about an inch or up to my first knuckle and call it a day. I don't, I don't, I don't overthink it. All right, so that's the first batch. I'm going to do the same with the second batch. Now, these are seeds that I had harvested and dried from my plants last year. It must have been last year. These are Blue Lake, and I keep a copy. So these are the Blue Lake beans that I'm going to be sowing next. I keep a copy of an old package, but these are the beans that I had sown or harvested last year and just let them dry on the vine, and I grabbed them. Okay, so what I did was picked out the strongest tomato plants in the batch that I had started out. The rest of my seedlings here, I'll show you. There's a couple that were like really small that didn't do too well, so I'm not going to plant those. So I basically just picked out. That's why I start more than I need, just to make sure that I can pick the best ones. And then I just kind of roughly laid them out. And then the trick with tomatoes is you want to plant them as deep as you can, because what they'll do is put out roots all along the stem, and that's what you want, to have a strong root system. We just filled this bed, I want to say 2 weeks ago. So I know the soil is pretty fluffy. It's ready to go. So I'm just going to use my hands to do this. It's easier than getting the trowel out. And I just make like as deep a hole as I'm going to fit. Now, let me take this out of the little. So these are all my sweet 100s. Put my sweet 100s, the Estorina, which are like a yellow cherry tomato. They're all cherry tomatoes. And then at the end, I'll do the sun sugar. And it's just taking them out of their little container, making sure you dig as deep a hole as you can, and it's okay, like you could take off the little branches, just rip them off, it's fine. And just leave the top, because what it'll do, it'll grow. And if you've ever looked at a tomato plant, like you'll see all these little hairs. Sometimes you'll see these little root nodules that are about to grow. And just plop it in, and then just fill in the hole. Now, I watered these yesterday. They were outside hardening off for the whole day. I've been doing it off and on for about, I want to say 10 days, 2 weeks, but we've had some days where we just couldn't put them out because it was too cold. But today's finally the day where nights seem to be pretty steady over 10 degrees Celsius. And that's the magic number to be able to put these outside and just kind of make sure they're somewhat straight. And then for each stake, I'm going to tie 2 tomatoes to them, but I can't do it now. I have to wait till they grow a little bit more, which is fine. And then as soon as they start growing and leaning, I'll just attach them to the stake with like that green, what do they call it? Garden tape. It's that Velcro stuff. And that works well for me. And I'll just I put 2 per stake. I mean, you could certainly put 1 stake per tomato, but they're cherry tomatoes. It's not like they're super, super heavy like the full-size tomatoes are. So I kind of just do 2 per stake. All right, and these ones are actually pretty solid. I'm glad. All right. Take off any leaves that you don't want. This is going to be buried, so I'm going to take it off and just plop it in. I can put this deeper. All right. There we go. And then once all of these are planted, I'll come back, water everything in, and watch the weather. If it dips down to like 9, even 8, like that's probably okay. Any lower than that, and I'd probably cover them, but they're pretty resilient. The more tender stuff like basil would probably one I'd cover just to keep an eye on if it gets any cooler than that. But so far the forecast looks okay, so we're just going to go with the flow and hope for the best. All right, this is another. Ooh, now this stem seems to have damage. I'm planting it anyway, guys. Trust in nature. My whole. Right. Oh, that's gonna go flying. All right, let me just take a closer look at this. Whoops, let go. Oh no, it's okay. It's all right. Plop that in delicately. This one's a little softer. It's not. I think I need to water these really good. They were out all day yesterday. I watered them in the morning. I watered them again in the afternoon, just to make sure that they were solid enough. You know what? I'm going to hill this one just to make sure that it's got some stability. All right. This is also a sweet 100. Oops, you have to get out of the way, buddy. Yeah, but I think yesterday was the first time that I could leave them out all day. It's essentially we were waiting for in the mornings for it to get above 10 and then put them out. But we've had a couple of cooler days with rain and whatnot, so I couldn't even put them out at all. So yesterday was the first day I could put them out all day in preparation for today. Get them out planted super deep. I could probably even go deeper than that, but I've got wood and branches down further below in this bed that I don't want to go too far down. Now, this guy's leaning a bit. That's okay. All right, so I am going to plant the rest, and I will circle back. I'll plant the rest, water everything in, and circle back. After this, we're doing the marigolds. I brought those out. They're here with me. But yeah, let's get to it. All right. Tomatoes are in. I also planted the marigolds since while I was at it. So this is what they look like. And I've popped in. So let me talk a little bit about marigolds and what they deter. So the list of common pests that marigolds deter include like things like aphids, things like tomato hornworm. Some say they repel like squash bugs, cucumber beetle, those types of things. Some say mosquitoes. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to that. But I'll tell you what, like I've always planted marigolds with my tomatoes and scattered throughout the garden. And I've seen like one hornworm in my whole gardening career for, I don't know, 15 years. I saw one. Whether that's because I plant marigolds, whether that's because I always do raised beds and hornworms have trouble finding their way up there, I have no idea. But I'm not going to stop doing it just because I've had really good success with it. They're so easy to grow. They don't take up that much room. I kind of put them off to the side because, and they do get quite large, but they kind of drape over the side. And I'd rather enjoy the benefits if they are providing it than risk not and then ending up with a failed crop or pests that I don't have time for that stuff. I'm sure you guys don't either. Okay, so I got all the tomatoes in. I put a marigold on each end of the tomato bed. So there's the other guy there. They're a little. Most of them look okay. The tomatoes. I'm going to keep an eye on them today because it's going to be warm. I didn't put any marigolds in the berries. I don't think it would do anything for them. I put one in the melon bed. Again, not sure if it's going to do anything, but I'd rather put it than not. I put one in the peas because eventually the peas will be harvested and something else will be in this bed. So I'd rather have the marigold in place. In this one, right now it's carrots and turnips, but again, like these things are going to be harvested. So there's a little marigold there. I didn't put any in with the bok choy or anything like that because what I'm going to be replacing in here is also going to be covered. So if it's covered, pests won't bother them anyway. I put one in here. What is this? This is radishes, arugula, and green onion. Whoop, sorry for the shadow. Let me get out of the way. So I put one little marigold in there. And again, this is also going to be replaced. The onions are going to stay, but eventually this will be, what's going here? I think it's carrots. I don't remember. But I'd rather have it in place than not. Same thing with the garlic, right? Garlic is technically a natural pest deterrent because things just don't bother it. But I popped one in there because once I harvest the garlic in July, I'm planning on growing something else here, and I'd rather the marigold be there and established and ready to go. Same thing for the onions. You would think, I've never grown onions or potatoes. This is my first year doing it, but I popped one in there just as a precaution, just in case. So I popped one there, and I popped one in the potatoes as well. I don't know. I think potatoes may be prone to aphids. I'm not sure, but we'll see. And just in case, I popped a marigold in there. All right. So back garden planting or transplanting is done. Now, what's left to do today? Look at those teepees. You look at them now; they're totally bare. But you'll see over the course of the summer as these beans grow up, these teepees. We have a joke that my bean teepees eventually look like Cousin It from the Addams Family because they get really big and unrecognizable. You don't even see the teepee anymore. They just look like these two big green blobs in the backyard. Anyway, it's going to be funny. So all of this is done. What's left to do is planting up the herbs in the pots on the deck. So I'm off to do that next. Oh, big day today. All right. Okay. So I've planted up all of the herbs on the deck. Let me take you through. I'll show you what all these are. These are the two Thai basil. This one dried out a little bit inside, and you can see some of the leaves are a little bit dry, but I planted it anyway, and we'll see how it does. This one looks okay. It was funny, between the Thai basil, the mint, and the lemon balm, I couldn't figure out which one was which, so I was just sniffing. And it's easy enough to tell because the Thai basil smells kind of licoricey, mint smells like mint, lemon balm smells like lemon. So that's how I kind of figured out which was which. Anywho, so that's the Thai basil. These are the chives. So good. It smells oniony. This is the lemon balm. So I put 3 in there. This is the mint. And if you don't, well, any gardener who's been around for a while knows that don't plant mint in the ground. Same thing goes for lemon balm. They're a bit of a thug and they'll take over everything. So keep them in pots. They grow well in pots. Sometimes they even come back year to year. So strongly encourage, keep them in pots. Don't plant them in the garden because they'll take over everything. These are the borage. And I probably should have read up to see if I can put 2 in a pot. But we'll see, won't we? This one looks really good. I'm really happy. This is the first one for me. I've never grown borage before. So we'll see how that goes. This is the parsley. This one looks really happy too. That's the parsley. There's 2 summertime. Time's doing well. Again, I'm pretty sure I can have 2 in a pot. Worst case, they'll just grow smaller. And then I put 4 Genovese basil in each of these pots. Again, you could probably put 1 and it'll just grow larger. I just like a lot of basil, so I put, and I didn't want to throw any out. I didn't want to throw any of my seedlings out. So I just planted them all because they all looked really good. And then the rosemary, it smells so good. I love herbs. It smells amazing. So that's the rosemary. And then this was the chamomile that came back. I planted it in this pot last year and it reseeds itself. So there's these tiny little seeds and they just fall when the flowers dry off. And it just reseeds itself. So that one looks pretty awesome. So that is it for today in terms of garden planting. On the list, I still have planting the annuals in the front flower bed and potting up my summer containers with the annuals that I've been keeping in the garage. But I think I'm going to take a break for a minute. And what time is it now? It's 10:30. So I did a lot this morning and it's only 10:30. So I might take a break, have some lunch, see how I'm doing this afternoon. And I might end up doing the annuals in the pots because I'm really excited to get them done. But the bulk of the planting, at least the veggie and the urban veggie garden, is done. Big day. I was so looking forward to today. You know, when you're a kid and you have something special happening like the next day and you can barely sleep and you're up early and you're bouncing off the walls. That's been me for the past couple of days. I'm probably driving my husband crazy. Anyway, it's all good. It's in. Now we just keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on cold temps at night, keep everything watered and everything happy, and carry on. So I ended up doing planting the annuals in the front too. I figured, you know what, I'm all dirty. It's the perfect day to do it. So I just went ahead and planted them up. So these 4, this is the front flower bed. I put 4, they're all Super Tunia Latte. So they're kind of like a creamy petal with some dark burgundy or dark brown in the throat. There's no blooms yet, but there will be. Oh, there's one there. It's not quite open yet, but that's what it's going to look like. So there's 4 in the front. Let me go back a bit just to show you the whole bed. And then on this side, I've got 3 on the right, 3 on the left, all the same. And we are eventually going to be putting a 3rd globe cedar in the middle, so I wanted to leave that spot empty. So I did that. They're 10 in total. And then while I was at it, I was tired of keeping my annuals and babysitting them in the garage. Now that the weather has finally been cooperating, I figured I'd do my summer pots as well. So in here, and it's actually good, you can see them good because it's shady up here. So in the center, this is a Main Street Ruby Road coleus. And then we've got some, what is it? Harmony Apricot Cream, I think it is. Hold on, let me grab the tag real quick. Harmony Apricot Cream, New Guinea Impatiens, and then the Non-Stop White Begonia. So I just did, 2 of the Impatiens, 2 of the Begonia, and the coleus in the center. Coleus is going to get large. I don't know what the Impatiens or the Begonias are going to do. I've never grown them before. I've always had like full sun for patio containers in the front of the house. But in this house, so right now, what time is it? It's 1 o'clock and the sun hasn't come around yet. So I figured I should get part shade. All of these are part shade. Sun to shade. Which one can do sun to shade? I think it's the Non-Stop Begonia. Let me just check real quick. Part shade. Hold on, I'm looking at my tags here. Non-Stop Begonia. Sun to shade. So if they do get a little sun, it's okay. But for the most of the day, they're going to be in a shady spot. And then I've got the other one on this side. You can see the sun is starting to come around the house. Same thing, coleus in the middle, 2 Impatiens, 2 Non-Stop Begonias. And I kind of liked the color scheme. Last year I did like purples and the light purple, dark purple, and like a cream. But I really love this flower. Look at that. And the leaves. Coleus I've done before, and it's a monster. They get so big, they're so rewarding. But anywho, now I'm done. No more planting, at least today, until the 3 butterfly bushes arrive. And then I'll plant those in the south strip, and then I'll be done. Then I'll be done for a good while. Oh, now I'm pooped, and I'm already sore. I'm sore from yesterday. I'm already sore from today. So it's gonna be a long day, guys. Oh my goodness, but that felt good and I'm glad everything's done. Now I just have to, I watered everything in. Now we just have to monitor, keep an eye on things and keep an eye on the temperatures to make sure everybody's going to be okay. All right. I hope you're planting too. Have a great day, guys.